everyone. Welcome to a Stamping to Share video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Kate Kalthoff, and today I'm going to share with you a musical season bundle Christmas card. And I have 3 card samples here, all which use a little bit different background paper, but all very similar. All of that background paper comes from, let me see if I can find it here, comes from our Merry Music Specialty Designer Series paper. This is kind of a thin background paper, which is good because that doesn't add then any weight to your cards. And it comes 12 sheets of black and 12 sheets of white papers, all with music or Christmas verse on them. And there's some in English and then some in some other languages. And I just love it. It's gorgeous and it works so well for Christmas, especially with the kind of black and green and gray themes that have been very trendy lately. This is the musical season bundle. You can see it comes with a stamp set and a set of framelits. And of course the French horn is missing because I have that on my Big Shot machine. And then the other item that we are using in these cards is our Pretty Pines Thinlits that you can find in our annual catalog. And it, of course, also is missing a couple of the pine boughs. But I will be showing you that all in a minute. But first, let's look at these cards. Here are 3 of them. You can see the backgrounds are all just slightly different. It really doesn't matter as long as it's a black background that you're using, and that helps make this French horn kind of pop. Now the French horn is kind of sturdy. Let me show you what I used to create the French horn. I actually used that chipboard that you can find in Designer Series paper packs that come from Stampin' Up. You can see back here just a little bit of the writing, and it doesn't matter because you can have the writing on the reverse side. People won't see it. But you can get 16 French horns from one sheet because you only need a 3 by 3 inch square. And it has sort of a satiny glossy finish, which I really love for this particular card. So let me see if I can bring that up to the camera. Oh, maybe it doesn't show up so great. Maybe this one does a little better. But just be aware that it is a little sturdier and just adds a little bit more elegance to your card. All right, so let's go ahead and get started making this card. The first thing that we're going to need is a piece of basic black cardstock. This is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. What I'm going to do is fold along this score line, and we'll give this a little bit of a press with my bone folder. We're going to go ahead and do the inside panel right off the bat. This is Whisper White. It's 4 by 5 1/4. And on the other side, I have a 1/2 inch strip of the Merry Music Designer Series paper that's going to coordinate with the front part of our card. So that's a 1/2 inch by 4 inches. And then we can go ahead and we'll stamp our inside sentiment. I am using basic black archival ink, and then I just have, "May the spirit of the season be the melody that plays in your heart all year long." Isn't that beautiful? I just love this sentiment, and it works so great for the Christmas season. So now we can go ahead and we'll take some snail. We'll just put a little snail here along the top, and then we'll open up our card and we'll set it right here so that all 4 borders are nice and even. Give that a little press to burnish it down, and we're ready to move on to the next step. The next step is a piece of smoky slate paper. This is 4 by 5 1/4, and we are going to build everything on this panel before attaching it to our card base. So the first thing that we're going to do is take that Merry Music Specialty Designer Series paper, and we're going to cut out a 3.5 inch by 3 3/4 inch kind of square shape here, and this is going to go right here. So I'm just going to use some multi-purpose liquid glue and glue that in. Now you could use either side of this paper, but I would like to have the music notes towards the front for this particular card. But I did use both sides of this paper, as we made quite a few of these cards for Fall Flair this year, and we like to have 4 samples at every table. The next thing I'm going to do is a ribbon wrap. So we are going to use our 1/2 inch smoky slate gingham ribbon. So I'm just going to cut this a little bit wider than the card, and then I'm going to take the 1/8 inch sheer Whisper White ribbon and cut a piece to match. And then we're going to do a ribbon wrap. So I'm just going to secure this around my card with some Scotch tape. Now that I have the gray piece secured, then I'm going to just go ahead and take the white ribbon, and we're going to do the exact same thing, except we're going to center that white ribbon over the smoky slate gingham and proceed to attach that also with some Scotch tape. All right, now we're going to go ahead and do a little stamping. So again, I'm going to bring my basic black archival ink into the picture, and we're going to stamp peace, joy, and love right here on the front of our panel. That looks great. Now we can go ahead and we'll just layer this onto the front of our card base, and I'm going to do that with some multi-purpose liquid glue. So we'll just put a nice small skinny line of glue all the way around that panel, and then we'll center it into our basic black card base. Great, now we need to go to the Big Shot machine, and I did go ahead and do this in advance just to save a little time on the video. So here are the platforms that I used. So I used the Stampin' Up! Big Shot platform, then I have my thin die adapter, then of course I have my cut plate here. You can see it's been used many times. And I have a garden green, just a scrap of garden green with the smaller of the Thinlits, of the pine Thinlit here. And sometimes you need to go ahead and use a poker tool just to get that started. So that's why we have these little holes here on the back. Helps to get that little pine Thinlit out. So there we have one, and now let's go ahead and work on this one. So again, we just pull it away, and we can take our poker tool and start that, and then just bring up the little pine frond. And here we have our French horn. So again, we can pull that away. Again, I can use my paper piercing tool, and we'll just kind of start that, and then we can pull it away from the paper or from the die. And there it is. And then it just is a matter of poking all of these little pieces out, which I have done on another one. So I will set this aside because I already have that prepared. So now what you want to do is you want to attach your pine fronds first. And we're going to do that with a glue dot. So I have my glue dots right here, and I'm just going to use my paper piercing tool, and I'm going to put a glue dot right in the very center of this 3.5 by 3 3/4 inch panel that we've already glued down. I'm going to take another glue dot and just expand that area so I have a little bit more room here to put these pine fronds down. So the first frond that I'm going to put down is the Tranquil Tide colored pine frond. We're just going to set that in. And then the next one that we're going to do is the Garden Green. So we're going to add another glue dot right here over the top of this one. And we'll set this in right here. And we'll just kind of make that so it sort of goes off to the side. And we have our pine fronds on. Now it's just a matter of putting our French horn over the top. So here is the one I had prepared for you in the bands, and I also went ahead and I put these little mini dimensionals all over the back of it so that it will rise up a little bit from the card. Then we just set this in here just like so and press down, and our card is almost done. Now the perfect accent would be a little bow right here. So again, I tied this in advance, and this is our 1/8 inch sheer white whisper white ribbon, and we're going to set this right here with the glue dot, and our card is complete. So here's the card I've just completed for you. Here are some of the cards again that I did in advance, and I truly hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for stopping by Stamping to Share. If you'd like to make a product order, please visit my blog at www.stampingtoshare.com, and you can find links there that will make creating Christmas cards a cinch this year. Have a great day. Bye-bye.